Now from D.C., thank you for joining us, Senator. Real quickly, Pelosi and Reid came out and said, hey, hold on, all you jumping off the Obama ship. Maybe we will still try and push something through. Are these two, Reid and Pelosi, simply out of touch with what America wants and is now voting for, has voted for up in Massachusetts?
Well, they figure because they still have 59 votes, they can do whatever they want to. It's what I call an arrogance of power. And not only will they do that, but they don't have any transparency at all after the president, and even they said that their approach would be transparent in comparison to what happened in the past. So, you know, it's amazing to me that they still want to pass an ultra-liberal, out-of-control bill that really can't be paid for after having suffered this defeat in Massachusetts. And look, I don't think anybody can say that that defeat didn't come about partly, in fact, in great measure, because of the so-called health care reform bill that was passed by the Senate and the one passed by the House. Both very partisan bills.
Senator, you have all this huddling going on there at the Hill. You have, including your leadership as well, and you have several Democratic. They're huddled. Apparently, this is from our people in D.C., in Nancy Pelosi's office, and Steny Hoyer's office as well, also in John Boehner's office. You know, like people were talking about today back and forth, it's kind of like, why don't the Democrats see this? You know, it's just like that deja vu from '94 when it was a wake-up call and President Clinton was keen and changed direction a little bit, and yet he won re-election. So this is an opportunity for President Obama to change direction and maybe salvage his administration.
Well, they are talking about paring the bill back, but you know, the leadership of the Democrats, they're talking like Thelma and Louise. They're going to go off the cliff together, you know. It just makes you wonder. I think one of the pundits on Fox used that analogy. But no, in all honesty, they should pull back, say, look, we should not pass something that affects 1/6 of the American economy without Republican support. And, you know, there wasn't any attempt to get Republicans with regard to the Help Committee bill in the Senate or regarded to the Pelosi bill in the House. Not any attempt. They might have made a little bit of an attempt to get one of our senators from Maine, but even then did not have her in the middle of the negotiations. So, you know, to make a long story short, it's an arrogance of power. They had 60 votes in the Senate. They thought they could just ram this through. Now they're talking about using a procedural approach called reconciliation. Well, reconciliation was never intended to be used for a substantive bill of this magnitude. And if they do that, they will have abused the rules like no party in history of either the Senate or the House.
Senator, you mentioned there that you think that the American public would want some Republicans to actually be helping and endorsing this bill. But, you know, I think that what people are missing on all of these elections is the referendum against all incumbents. I don't think that people want any Republican input on this bill either. They simply want everybody to leave them alone.
Yeah, 85% of the American people are happy, basically happy with their health care. Sure, they'd like it to be less expensive. Sure, they'd like some modifications, but the fact of the matter is we could do that without throwing the whole system out and bringing the almighty federal government in to ruin everything and run the system into the ground. You know, even the folks in Massachusetts, which has always been considered to be a very liberal state, have come to that conclusion. And a lot of Democrats voted for Scott Brown. I'm sure it wasn't because he was a Republican. It was because he was standing up against an awful bill. And it is awful. I mean, I got to tell you.
Senator Hatch, real quickly, we're going to run out of time here, sir, but is there any sort of GOP form of health care reform or GOP input that would make the, you know, a merged Senate and House bill with the GOP input a livable one, a workable one, something you might vote for?
There's no way we can make either of those bills work because they're way off the beaten track. They are too much emphasis on the federal government and too much control in this almighty federal government here in Washington. But remember the CHIP bill. Kennedy and I took us 2 years of bipartisan work to bring people together. And that bill passed with, I think, close to 80 votes in the United States Senate. It was bipartisan. They want to pass this bill that affects 1/6 of the whole American economy in just a matter of months and do it solely by Democrats. Well, that's not right either.
All right, Senator Orrin Hatch, thank you for joining us. But please, yes, as Eric's saying, don't give up on some kind of health care reform because, boy, it is taking a lot of money out of our pockets and out of our employers' profits as well.
Right. Can I add one other thing?
Sure, sure, of course.
Republicans definitely want health care reform. It's not a question of whether or not we have it. It's what form would it be in? Right. Will it work? Can the taxpayers afford it? Is it something that will really help people, or is it just another boondoggle to push people into welfare and get to the advantage of the Democratic Party? You know, the bottom 50% of earners in this country pay 3% of the federal income taxes. The bottom 40% don't pay anything and get something from the federal government. The Democrats are trying to push that to 60%.
Senator, thank you for joining us. We're going to have to leave it there, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
On Tap on Happy Hour, folks, was Scott Brown's win in Massachusetts a huge wake-up call